Hi, my name is Katharina Lopez, and thank you for clicking on this video today. Um, I hope this is not going to be a long video, but I kind of made it for people to be aware about what's going on in the world, and if anything happens to me, I really want. I don't want to look back and be like, man, I wish I would have said this, or man, I wish I would have said that, you know? So this is what my channel is going to be about. This used to be a gaming channel, which is the funniest thing. If you look at the last entry, which it's probably going to be private because it's really embarrassing, but I remember saying, "Hey, I feel sick, and I might have the flu. I'm going to take NyQuil, and I'll be back on with the next video." Well, come to find out, that flu was a pregnancy, and he's 10 months now and healthy and bouncing, and he's just the third light of my life because he's my third and my last. Um, I wanted to also make this video to inform people about not the not the health industry, or so to say, but to inform people to be careful. You know, there's been a lot going on since the last time I filmed, which was, I think, last year, maybe May. I ended up, let me start from the beginning. I ended up getting pregnant with my third child, and his name is Ocean Noah Lopez. His dad thought of that name, and he did a good job with that. And the pregnancy was amazing. Now, before I was pregnant, I was diagnosed with something called pulmonary hypertension. That'll be another video for me to explain what it is, but it mostly attacks the lungs, and from the lungs, the heart. And it's extremely dangerous. I'm so sorry. Let me turn off my phone one sec. So from the lungs, the heart gets attacked, and it puts stress through the body. It's like pulmonary embolism, kind of like that, but different. Causes a lot of blood clots. It causes a lot of issues, and it's extremely dangerous. It works with blood pressure. It also works with your body and the water that you're input in your body. So if a lot of you know, when you're pregnant, a lot of people know this is common sense that, you know, women swell when they're pregnant with a lot of water. And that was extremely scary. If I have pictures, I'm gonna insert it, and so you guys see what I was talking about. It was normal swelling, but it was like kind of more than swelling, and that's when I kind of knew that there was like an issue going on. I also have sickle cell anemia, and so many people told me I wouldn't make it past my 18th birthday. So many people told me I wouldn't make it past my 25th birthday. And I'll be 30 in November. November 26th, I'll be 30 years old. Oh my God, that's crazy. Me saying it out loud, that's so crazy. But yeah, and how many people said I wouldn't make it past that? You know, just having sickle cell alone it's a lot of hurdles to overcome, let alone having 3 kids on top of that. Each pregnancy is different, but each pregnancy is way more difficult when you have sickle cell anemia, and on top of that, pulmonary hypertension. Now, at the time when I got pregnant, I didn't know that I had all these problems. I knew I had sickle cell, but I didn't know that I had pulmonary hypertension. It wasn't a fact, it was like a question mark because of the swelling and everything that was going on. Now, I've been wanting to get pregnant for the longest. At the time, it was 7 years of an age gap in between my middle child and my youngest now, which Ocean. It's a 7 year age gap. So that's how long my husband and I were trying. So it meant the world to me to have another child, even though everybody was telling me, just count your chances, this and that, and just let that go. It's just a dream. It's not okay for you to do that. It's not a good idea. You don't want to leave your two other children motherless, which is so true. I don't want to leave my two other children motherless, but somehow I knew inside of me that I could bear a third pregnancy. My body could take it. I felt like I was okay to carry this pregnancy. So Mother's Day comes. Mother's Day comes and I'm late. This is last year. I'm late. I'm running like maybe 4 days late, and I was just telling my husband, it's the weirdest thing. We're not even trying at this point. We gave up trying. It's been 7 years. We haven't conceived. So I'm like, it's the weirdest thing. Like, I'm late, but I'm always late sometimes, on and off. Having sickle cell anemia is a blood disorder, so it makes my blood clot. It's going to be an issue with me having irregular periods due to me having sickle cell. So I was telling my husband, yeah, it's only been 4 days. He was like, what? Really? He's like, well, let me just go run to the store. And I'm like, no, don't waste money. I'm like, don't waste any money. We've done this a million times before. Don't waste don't waste any money at all. I wish he was here because it's so funny. This story is so funny. So he goes and he gets it anyways, and he brings it back. He's like, here you go. I brought it for you. Take the pregnancy test. I'm like it's not gonna say anything, but fine, I'll take it. Whatever, like whatever. And my two kids at the time were eight and 6. No, yeah, 8 and 6. Yeah, where's was this? He's still 7. I don't know, but 7 or 8. My two older kids, Joshua and Nathan. Nathan is my middle child, and Joshua is my oldest. So they're hanging around the room, like they're always in our room. That's their play area. I mean, we're like this, me and my little men, and my husband, we're like this with them. So like they don't really go anywhere in the house but our room. So they were in the room just relaxing, listening, and being nosy to what was going on. And they were like, "Mommy, mommy, are you pregnant? Are we gonna have another sibling? Are we gonna have another sister?" And I'm like, sister, brother. I never said I was pregnant. Anyways, I was like, no. Let me just go to the restroom and take this test. So I go into the restroom. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, this is like a waste of money. I should have just told him no, not to get this pregnancy test, because it's gonna say another thing, and I'm gonna be so heartbroken and disappointed. And that's usually what happens. I'll take the test, it'll be negative, and I'll be heartbroken. So I wait, and I pee on it, and I wait, and I look at the test. Within seconds, this test says positive. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, am I in a dream? Like, oh my God, I must be dreaming. Like I have to be dreaming. This has to be a dream. I'm thinking in my head. And I call my husband. I'm like, Alex, mind you, this is Mother's Day. Mother's Day last year in 2020. Mother's Day, and it was the best Mother's Day gift, hands down, that I've ever received in my whole life since I've been a mom. Was this past Mother's Day in 2020? So I yell my husband's name. I'm like, Alex, and he comes running, and, and we have the positive pregnancy test. I if I have I will insert how many pregnancy tests I took. I took like about 8 pregnancy tests, and they were all positive, one getting darker than the other one, darker than the other one. And I am just ecstatic. I'm like, oh my God, like I was on a high, nobody could take it away from me. I told my mom, who also has sickle cell anemia, and she wasn't that happy. She was like, why would you do this to yourself? I didn't know you wanted to have a baby this bad. You need to conserve your body. Your last pregnancy was so hard. Like, why would you do this? You're older now. You're not younger. Mind you, she's saying this because of when I was with my first pregnancy. I was 19 years old. I was pretty young when I first got pregnant. I conceived when I was 18, had him at 19, had my middle child, Nathan, at 20, and that was a lot, a lot on my body. Um, but it was easier, probably because I was younger. And this pregnancy was the total opposite in a good way, because I think I threw up once through my whole pregnancy. Had so much energy. Of course, the first, maybe, the first trimester is a little like rocky. I was tired a lot. But other than that, after the second trimester, we hit the ground running. It was amazing how this pregnancy literally healed my body from the inside out. Even when I wasn't pregnant, I've never felt that amazing. And I know how they say every pregnancy is different, but I feel like this is all due to a higher power, because the doctor that I saw, I had ended up having a sickle cell crisis, and I ended up having to go to the hospital. And the OBGYN I saw said, "You're going to have to get an abortion. Um, your body cannot handle it. It's going to kill you. Due to your pulmonary hypertension, we feel like you're going to die. So you need to have an abortion, or you could just face the facts of your enemy will pass away. Your enemy, we don't say us in this house, we say enemy, just so you know. Enemy is code word for me, but enemy. um and they said, yeah, your enemy is going to pass away, and you need to think of how what is important to you. They used my children as a way to be like, you need to think what's important, the most important to you. So, of course, I love my two other children, but abortion is not an option for me. For other women, that is okay if they choose to abort. That is their body, that is their own decision. But with my body, I chose not to abort. And because this is something that I've wanted, mind you, if you put yourself in my shoes, for 7 years. 7 years I tried and tried and tried, and it ended up like 3 miscarriages through those times, and false pregnancy tests, and just a bunch of stress and a bunch of sadness and a bunch of confusion. And finally, here I am. God blessed me with what I've been praying and asking for, and the doctors are telling me you need to abort. Now, this is not just one doctor that told me this. 2 doctors told me this. 3 doctors told me this. 4 doctors told me this. A lady doctor, my OBGYN, he had seen me till I was 8 months pregnant, and then referred me to what do they call it, neonatologist, a high risk pregnancy doctor. And I was furious because I wanted to stay at my little MCA, Medical Center of Arlington. By the way, I live in Arlington. I wanted to stay in that little hospital. It's not little, it's very massive. It's actually level 5 hospital, but I wanted to stay there because it's so close to our house. I didn't want to go anywhere else. They were saying that either I had to go to JPS, which is a teaching hospital, which I didn't want to go there. I've had horrible experiences with teaching hospitals, and I don't like teaching hospitals, but they are the best, honestly, at what they do when it comes to high risk situations. They wanted me to go there, or UT Southwestern, which UT Southwestern is actually really nice. I don't know if they're a teaching hospital, but they're very very good at what they do. Okay, so I didn't want to go there either. It was just so far. Like, what for? So they found me a doctor in Fort Worth that was with a private hospital, Texas Health, um, Texas Health Hospital, and that's where I gave birth to my second child, my middle child. So I was okay with giving birth there, although I was really disappointed. That is what saved my life, anyways. So time passes, and I think I'm like I said, I think I'm just 8 months pregnant, and every doctor is telling me, you have to abort, you have to abort. And after a while, imagine, it's beating on my soul. It was beating me down to the point where I was like, I was just like, this sucks. Like, is there anybody that will tell me that I have a pot of gold in the end of the rainbow? Like, is there anybody that's gonna tell me, hey, it's gonna be okay, other than my family? Like, is there anybody that says I'm gonna be okay? until I met the doctor that my OBGYN referred me to, the high risk pregnancy doctor. And he said, "Who told you that you had to have an abortion?" I said, "Well, one, two, three, four, five, six different doctors." And he said, "Absolutely not." And he's like, "I'm so glad you didn't, because if you did, it would have been for no reason. There is a risk." He's like, "I'm not lying to you. It's my duty to tell you the truth. I'm your doctor." But he's like, the risk is not as much as they're putting on. It's like, I would say a 30% chance of a lower risk than what they told you that the risk is already. And I said, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah." He said, "We're going to have this baby, and we're going to have you on all the heart monitors. If we have to put a catheter inside your heart, that's what we'll do." Now, at the time, I was swelling. I would swell up, and it would go down, and I would swell up and go down. But I haven't had a crisis at this point until I turned eight months pregnant. And what he said, the high risk pregnancy doctor told me, "Hey, let's refer you to a hematologist. Let's get a hematologist on board." At the time, I didn't have one, which you always need a hematologist. If you have sickle cell anemia, a hematologist is a must. You should always have a must. But me, I didn't have one. First of all, so many hematologists don't accept sickle cell patients, which is so crazy, because you would think they're a hemo doctor. Hemo has to do with blood, but they don't accept sickle cell patients, which is also, I feel like it's a racist thing in itself, but that's another story for another day. Um, but I really do think, I really do believe in my heart that they should be accepting sickle cell patients as well as cancer patients. You can't be a blood doctor and just say, "Screw all the different blood types out there. Screw all the different blood diseases. I just want one, and that's it in my practice." But I mean, I guess you can. You can pick whoever you want to operate with, whoever you want to operate on, whoever wants to be. You can pick your patients. At least in Texas, where I live in little Arlington, Texas. Um, so then I proceed to see this hematologist, and he is so wonderful. Like, he is a godsend. To this day, by the way, I still see him. I still see him. He never stopped seeing me. I was so happy whenever he first took me on, and ever since that first initial appointment, I didn't want to stop seeing him. I was just like, okay, this is it. He's a goat. He's a goat of all doctors. So I didn't want to stop seeing him, and to this day, I mean, he's still my favorite doctor. What can I say? So what happened is I went to go see him, and he said he was concerned for me. He said, "But it's really good you haven't been having a sickle cell crisis. What we're going to do is we're going to start doing something called a blood exchange." A blood exchange is where they put a catheter going into the heart, one of the heart valves on the left side, and it's basically goes straight to. It's supposed to go to where the kidneys and the liver, the blood supply, is supposed to go to that area, where your kidneys and liver pull from. So um, what he told me was that that is my best option for me to stay alive as well as keep the baby okay as well in my womb. And at that point I was willing to do everything. Everybody is telling me that my enemy is going to pass away, that I don't have enough time, this and that. And I was just so weighed down at that point. If somebody said, "Hey, you have to jump and do excuse my language, two back flips and a fucking circle, excuse my language again, and rub your stomach at the same time," I would do so, because, I mean, at that point I was so desperate. Everybody was telling me, "No, no, this is your only option," which is the one that's not an option for me. It's just not. So, um, and how are you offering me to abort my child at 8 months? I mean, there's no way. At that point, he would be okay. I mean, I don't understand how these doctors think. Anyways, I went to go see, um, I went to go see this hematologist, and he gave me hope, and that's what I needed. And I think not even 2 weeks later, I ended up having my second sickle cell crisis. and it was a really bad one. I ended up in the hospital, and they were like, my high risk OBGYN was like, okay, look, we're gonna have to operate December 23rd, 2020. We're going to have to operate, which is ends up working perfectly because it was when my husband and I, our anniversary. It was our 10-year anniversary when my child was born. So I felt like that was a blessing. That was God trying to tell me, hey, what you're doing is okay, and I'm here, and I'm gonna shine my light on you. And that's gave me so much comfort. As soon as I found out when we were gonna give birth, I was like, this is. I just don't believe in coincidences. This is a reason, um, why he was supposed to be born this day. Out of every day he can be born, he was chosen to be born this day. He was originally supposed to be born on Christmas, but things changed, and that's fine. His due date was actually his real original due date is January 1st, which is New Year's. But I can't wait. Having sickle cell anemia, I cannot wait to go into natural labor. So what they wanted to do was to do it before anything can happen with me having my water break or any complications get in the way. And that was supposed to fall on Christmas Day. That's 2 weeks before, if I'm correct, it's 2 weeks before New Year's. Um, but it just didn't work that way. I was getting sick, and they had to take him out on December 23rd, 2020. Um, so fast forward, I have my son. I'll include pictures. I had my child, and it was the best day other than having my other two children and marrying my husband. It was honestly the best day of my life. I have to say, hands down. Um, Hands down, it was such a great day, and all of the things they said about and then monitor me for the first 42 hours, because having pulmonary hypertension is extremely dangerous. The water can fill up into the body, and the heart can stop. And many people, I'm so blessed because many people did not make it out having pulmonary hypertension and being pregnant. Their heart gave out, and my doctor, I wasn't his only patient that had that, but I was like one of the couple of patients that did survive that. So to know that I did survive that, and there was other women that did not, um, that was sad for me. But I also felt really blessed, really blessed. I'm not even gonna. Um, I felt truly blessed, um, and moments, things pass. My husband's there. We're there. It's Christmas, and we're in the hospital. I didn't go home 2 weeks after the fact. I'm sorry for the background noise. I didn't go to sleep till. I mean, go to sleep. I'm tired, as you guys can tell. It's actually midnight, I think, right now. Yep, almost one. 1 in the morning. Can you see? 1 in the morning. That big-headed baby is my son, by the way. So, my youngest. So, I didn't leave for till 2 weeks after the fact, but when I did leave, I noticed that my swelling in my legs was not going down, which was really weird because everybody was telling me, even the high-risk pregnancy doctor was telling me, don't worry, your swelling is going to go down after you have the baby. Everything's going to go back to normal. Don't fret, don't worry. So I was like, okay. I noticed that it was hard for me to walk. My ankles wouldn't move. It was like it felt like it was stiff, like just constricted. It like how an ankle has mobility and you can move it like a joint has mobility. Well, my ankle would stay like this and it would only move like this. So I would actually walk and I would trip over myself because my ankle couldn't move how a normal ankle joint like this moves. So it became a really worry. I'm like, something is going on. And then I noticed I was shortness of breath. I'm like, what is happening? Like, I was so good at when I was pregnant. I'm like, what is happening? Why is all this stuff happening? So time passes. and it's February. Um, my baby is only like a month, 2 months old, and um, I end up getting coronavirus. And that I don't really want to go into. That is a different story for another different day. Um, but I nearly died. I'm sure anybody that got coronavirus nearly almost died, but I nearly died. I was on life support. That's how serious it was. And my poor husband didn't even, they weren't even telling him the seriousness of it until it got so bad that they called my hematologist. And if, like I said, my hematologist has saved my life so many times more than he actually even knows, I think, because he's the one that told them, give her a blood exchange. And that actually healed me. So for anybody that is dealing with their family that is life or death situation that has coronavirus, ask them for a blood exchange. And I promise you, as God is my witness on my soul, okay, I really truly believe this is what healed me from coming out from that life support. Is was the blood exchange, and and only certain hospitals can do it. I know Carter Blood Care is the only one that gives it to me in Arlington, Texas, but just see, just ask. It's worth anything at that point. You know what I mean? So that's what helped me come out of what I came out of. But I was never the same. After I came home, I noticed that this is explicit. So if you're a kid, just close your ears. But ladies, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. It's nothing for y'all. I didn't end up having a period till even now. I still haven't had my period. And I noticed that I'm like, wait a minute, I gave birth, didn't bleed. Well, the initial 2 weeks, I had a C-section with my third child. So the initial bleeding and everything like that happened. But it was like quick. I only bled for like maybe a week and a half. And it was over with, which I thought was strange because I was bleeding longer than that. But my doctors were like, you're good. It's cool. So I trust them. So I wrote it off as it being something weird. Maybe my body is different. Maybe my body is changing. It's this third pregnancy and I'm older. So um, I get the gist that something isn't right, like with my body. I'm not having my period. I've had coronavirus. I had coronavirus like 3 months prior. So I'm like, what is going on? I still haven't received my period. So I go see my OBGYN, and my OBGYN is like, everything's fine. Nothing is wrong. Your liver, though, is very, very swollen. By the way, when I had coronavirus, let me go back to when I had coronavirus and I was fighting for my life. Um, I ended up having kidney and liver failure, as well as sepsis. I don't know how I got sepsis, but I had sepsis. Um, when I was fighting for my life in that coma, they were treating me with all of those things. Um, so time passes, right, and we're right back to 3 months later, and I'm remembering all of these things. I'm like, wait a minute. All of this is making sense. This is all adding up. Why is my liver so swollen? And the doctor's really concerned. This is my regular OB. This is not my high risk OB. This is the one that transferred me to the high risk OBGYN. And he's like, I don't think it's okay. Like, you need to go to the hospital. Something's wrong. The way your liver is swollen, it's literally like, imagine this being my stomach, okay? My liver was from here to across to the left side of my stomach. So it was literally taking up. I could not eat. I couldn't even sleep. When I was sleeping, I had to sit up. I couldn't, I felt like I was drowning. Like, that's the best way I could explain it. Like, my liver, I don't know how my kidneys were doing. My eyes were turning yellow again, which means I'm jaundiced. I'm naturally jaundiced. I have sickle cell anemia. So that's something that I expect. But the way that my eyes looked, it looked like orange, almost. Like, I was so scared. And my heart, I couldn't breathe, and I was noticing I couldn't even walk. Like, let's say my bed is here and my bathroom is right here. I couldn't walk from point A, my bed, to point B, the restroom, without my husband's help. I was getting so winded and I was sleeping through the whole day. And everybody was like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Well, I don't feel well." My mom's like, I think she must have thought I was pretending. She probably thought I was being dramatic because I am a dramatic person. I'm a Sagittarius. So I am a little dramatic, dramaed out, but at this point, I wasn't being dramatic. I honestly didn't know what was going on with my body. So I would blame it on my sickle cell, or I just gave birth, or I just had COVID. I'm sorry, not COVID. I don't want them to 19. We'll call it 19. I had 19. Um, so I would blame it on anything. Honestly, anything I would blame it on. So time passes and maybe a month passes, and I'm telling my doctor these things, and he's like, "How long has this been happening?" I'm like, "I don't know, this and that." And he's like, "Okay, well, next time," he's like, let's take you to the emergency room and get some tests done and stuff like that." So I'm like, "Okay." So I ended up having a crisis by the grace of God, which I know sounds stupid, but me saying by the grace of God, but honestly, it is by the grace of God because it saved my life. This crisis saved my life. I ended up going to the hospital, and they were telling me, with all the tests they did, they're like, "You're in heart failure." I said, "What?" I literally started bawling. I said, "I'm in heart failure?" And they're like, "Yeah, your test is way off. You are in full blown heart failure, in liver failure." I was like, "What?" Guys, I cannot tell you the feeling of when somebody tells you a diagnosis that is life changing, how you feel at that moment. It's like an out of body experience. I'm not even exaggerating. I just, I could not believe it. And my lungs are acting up, they said. It looked like glass type of, like when they took the CT scan, it looked like glass. I wish I could put a picture of it in here, but I can't. It's like an x-ray. I wish I could. If I can't, I'm gonna try. If I cannot, then oh well. But it looked like glass is the best way I can explain it. And that's how they were explaining it to me. And they said, that's literally what's going on. It's like your um your lungs are shriveling up. I'm like, so basically my body is giving up on me. Mind you, I when I had Ocean, I was 160. When I left and after I had COVID, of course you lose weight. I think I was like 128 pounds. I'm 5'11", 6 feet, okay? I'm supposed to weigh from 160 to 165. That's supposed to be my natural weight. I was 120 something, and I could not gain that weight back for the longest. And then all of a sudden, whoop, I gained my weight back. And it was excessive. It was like 168, and it was because within like 2 weeks, but it wasn't my weight. It was the swelling and the water in my body that my heart was retaining. Now when the heart is backed up, this is how they explain it to me. When the heart gets backed up, um it basically the pulmonary hypertension is from the lungs, but the heart is trying to pump everything from it works hand in hand. So if something is blocked, if there's some type of blockage, then it's going to back up into the heart, right? Or back up into the lungs, right? Um, well, this backs up into my liver. The lungs is a side effect of everything that's getting backed up. The liver is in the middle, the heart is on the right, and the liver is on the left. It's backing up into everything, basically. And when I said, "Is there anything I could do?" I looked at my doctor's eyes and I said, "Is there anything I can do? Because I don't want to die. I'm too young. I'm too young to die. I just gave birth. My baby has to know who I am." I risked my life to bring him into this world. There has to be something. There has to be something out there. There has to be. He looked at me and he was like, I wish there was something I can do, but there's honestly nothing. Your heart itself, the muscle itself, is what's failing. Not the valves, not the veins in it, the heart itself. Oh my God, guys. When he told me that, I started bawling. I don't even like talking about it right now. Still not over it. This just happened a couple of months ago. I'm still not over it. I mean, I've been praying, but God knows I could pray way more. I can worship a little bit more. I can go to church a little bit more. But I am so, the best way I can explain it, I'm spiritually tired. I feel like I had to spiritually be strong the whole pregnancy. And that's what got me to where I am now. But to find that strength again is the hardest thing that I can find myself doing. I keep on trying and trying and trying. And I know I can't let that faith go, because when I do let it go, it'll probably be the end for me. That's my kids and my faith and my husband is all I have to hang on to right now. That's what gets me up during the nights and to the daytime. That's my mother has all three of my children right now, because I can't even take care of them like I want to. And even to come on here to film this, I've been without my oxygen, and I'm sure you guys have been hearing me. That's my heart. If I turn around, you'll see what's behind me. I'm not even going to pretend. I actually should be on my oxygen right now. That's probably why I'm struggling for air. I'm just so embarrassed. I don't like to wear oxygen outside. I don't like people to look at me, be like, what's wrong with her? I've had so many stares sideways, be like, ugh, I hope she's not sick. She shouldn't be out. Hurtful things. But I need it. I'm gonna use it. I'm sorry for the background noise. To tell you the honest truth, I find myself just defeated. I feel defeated, but I know there has to be some light at the end of the tunnel. The whole reason of me even making this video, guys, is to let you guys see a glimpse of my life, but to also maybe you guys know something that I can do. Maybe I'm missing something. My doctor, I begged him and I asked him, is there anything I can do? And he told me UT Southwestern is my best bet in getting into that hospital. Do I tell you, I try and get into that hospital and they tell me they can't see me because my insurance is not under their care. And then they go, well, we offer insurance. I said, really? Oh my God, you offer insurance? Let me know what I can do to get on it. Well, you live in Tarrant County, never mind. So now you're telling me you won't take me as a patient and I can die in the meantime waiting for care? But you're telling me you can't take me because I don't live in the same county as you? What? What? I'm so sorry. Did I hear that correctly? Do you know Obamacare? I've gone that avenue. I've looked online, $387 a month. I have 3 kids. I have a mortgage I have to pay for. 4-bedroom house, 2-bedroom bath. Okay, that's a lot. I have a car notes. We have bills, electric bills, all type of bills. Our children need clothes. They're growing like weeds. Like, I can't put that much money aside for just me. I feel like it's just absolutely not fair for me. I feel selfish. But then again, don't you think it's going to be selfish if I'm not in my kids' lives? I tell it to myself. Don't you think it's selfish of me not to try? Maybe you guys know something I don't. I'm hoping that this video reaches people, and I know I was everywhere in the video. This is a really emotional video for me to film. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, it's taking everything in me not to break down and start crying. I'm sorry. Someone keeps on turning my oxygen to 4. I think it's my baby when he's crawling around. But I just feel like there has to be something. And if that is my portion to pass away before the age of 40, I'm gonna go down kicking and screaming, because it's not my time to leave. And if it is, if I do, God forbid, leave this planet because nobody wants to help me, I'm asking to be on the heart transplant list, and they're telling me I don't qualify because I have a pre-existing condition. Therefore, that brings me to the bottom of the list because I'm not 100% healthy. The only other option is me getting cured from sickle cell anemia. You know how rare that is? Bone marrow transplant kills more than helps. Think about that. People are like, oh, you can get a cure. Bone marrow transplant, I heard about that. That's easier said than done. People die from the effects. If they don't die from the process of it, they die from the effects afterwards. So, for example, my hematologist was telling me one of his patients flew all the way to Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. He got on the list. He was on the list for 6 years to find a donor. Once they finally found a donor, he did the bone marrow transplant. He didn't die from the bone marrow transplant itself like some people do. He made it past that. He made it after the fact. But his body started attacking him because it's a foreign object in his body. His body is telling him that is not his bone marrow. So it started attacking his bone marrow, and he passed away from that. So that's what I'm saying. The risks are so huge. I just can't take that chance of it being 3 different risks and that I have to overcome. It's just, that doesn't seem smart to me. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem smart. They're saying open heart surgery. If I even was to get on the list, it would be open heart surgery. It would be a whole heart they have to replace. First of all, I don't even know if I would make it from that. From my body being so weak. I don't even know. But there has to be something out there. Like, come on. Like, there has to be something. If somebody knows any knowledge that I have not spoken in this video, can you please leave a comment? I have my social media right here. It's Katharina Lopez, this right here. Please DM me. I'm not private or anything. Please DM me and let me know. I mean, I am honestly at my wit's end. Like, I have to be here for 3 of my kids. I can't leave my husband as a single father. And I said I wasn't gonna cry in this video. I almost made it. How can a healthcare system say there's nothing we can do, and you just let that person die? Notice how I haven't been hyperventilating since I've had this oxygen. Everywhere I go, I have to carry oxygen. It's so stressful. But, I mean, if that's what I have to do, then whatever. That's what I have to do. Right now, this is my baby's room. And I like to sit in here and think, and I miss him every single second that he's away from me. I just don't have the energy to take care of him. I'm on really heavy medication. I'm on cancer medication for my sickle cell anemia, hydroxyurea. I'm on pain medication for the pain because my body can literally not feel the pain because of my heart, the stress it puts on my heart. And I just hope you guys educate yourself and about sickle cell. I hope you guys educate yourself about pulmonary hypertension. I hope you guys educate yourself about heart failure and liver failure before you leave a comment. I'm not looking for any negativity, just positivity. Honestly, that's really what I need. I just need positivity because I'm in my head all day. My husband, thank God for my husband. I would lose my mind if it wasn't for him. I would lose my mind. I would lose my damn mind. But I just want to thank you guys for even watching this. Even if it's one person, even if it's 4, even if it's 10. I just want to thank you guys for tuning in and watching this. And I really honestly wanted to recreate this channel. I've had this channel for a while, but I really wanted to recreate it because I wanted to film something that matters to me. This matters to me. I have a business called Uptown Girl Support Group, and I want to get that off of the ground as well. You know, just being there for the youth, for the girls, for the youth. You know, for everything that I went through growing up, depression, and I want to be there for someone else too. And that's what that business is about. My support group is about. So I need to get that up and running again as well. And I guess today's officially Halloween. So let me start off or end off by saying happy Halloween. And I thank you guys for watching this video. If you haven't yet, that's okay. If you'd like, you can subscribe, you can comment, like the video. That's not why I honestly created this video. But it does help. It does help. So feel free to do what you want to do. I'm not telling you guys what to do. But if anything you do take from this video, life is so precious. Life is wonderful. Life is beautiful. And if you do take anything from this video, I hope that you take that. There can always be somebody that's doing 10 times worse than you. You might be in a funk and be like, man, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. Man, I'm so depressed. There's always somebody that's going through something way worse than you. And you have to realize that and take that in, and sometimes it lets you see the bigger picture. And it's definitely opened my eyes to see the bigger picture. And if you have any advice to give me, I'd appreciate it. I'm not the type of person that's like, I would never listen to advice or listen to comments of you guys. I hope that this video reaches you guys and touches your heart. And good health. What people give to have good health. Whoever is watching this and you have good health, you are truly blessed. And don't forget that. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys whenever.